Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 Supercross Power Rankings. These are my personal power rankings. This isn't for Rocky Mountain Fantasy SX. This is just my statistical power rankings. So let's backtrack to 2019 and let's look at after round 8 where we were sitting last year and kind of take a look into this year. So round 8 had happened. We had Cooper Webb with 4 wins and the points lead at 173 points. We had Ken Roczen second with 167, and he had 0 wins. And Eli Tomac had 160 in third with 2 wins. And this is through 8, so your champion was Cooper Webb last year, and he already had 4 wins going through week 8. And this year we've got Eli Tomac. He's first in points with 181 points. You got second in points with Roczen at 174. And you got third in points Webb. So it's almost like the roles reversed, except for Roczen this year has 2 wins. Eli has the 4 wins, and Webb only has 1 win. Now, Cooper Webb has 155 points, and Barsha's sitting there in 4th with 154. So he's 1 point back from Cooper Webb. And yeah, I just kind of going over the points there. That's just my stats rewind. So let's kind of dig into who I think still has championship title contention, right? Who has an opportunity. So I'm gonna mark this off at the top 4. I only have 4 people left that can win the title. That's Justin Barsha, Cooper Webb, Ken Roczen, Eli Tomac. And those are the 4 guys that can go out and still win the title. Now, I can change this to 5 if Eli Tomac and Ken Roczen somehow don't finish out the season. Hopefully, I don't want to wish that upon anybody, but that'd be the only way we'd go to 5. Potentially 6 if AC came back. There's a few things. So AC got hurt this last weekend, and it sucks because I've got to drop him out of my power rankings, and the kid's fast. Seven fastest in practice, hole shots. I didn't look how many hole shots he has, but he's always up front. He's been leading laps. He's got the most laps led out of anybody that hasn't won a race this year. So there's that. So now let's go into my power rankings. So my title hopeful for now, so I didn't want Eli to win. I wanted Cooper Webb to go back-to-back. But as of right now, after week 8, 4 wins in the season, and he looks a lot like Cooper Webb last year, I think Eli Tomac can take the torch from Webb this year. 4 wins, he looks strong, and yeah, he looks really good. As long as he can stay on the bike and not miss any mains. So I have Eli Tomac, number 1 in the power rankings right now. Sitting at number 2, this is hard for me because he's not been riding well. And I don't think he's ready to take the title reins this year. I think 1 more year, and I think he can be back up on the Eli Tomac. I mean, he's fast, but I have Ken Roczen number 2. The reason why it's so hard is because I feel like Cooper Webb was beating him until Webb went down last week in the Triple Crown. I understand Roczen got first in the first one, and Webb got second. But Webb was in 4th, catching 3rd with time left, and he makes last lap, last corner type passes. I think he passes Hill and goes to 3rd. And if Webb doesn't go down, well, Roczen doesn't finish 7th, he finishes 8th. That looks a lot worse. You got a 1-8 versus a 2-3. I think Webb was better. Webb goes down, doesn't race the last one. Roczen goes on to get a 2nd and a 2nd overall. So it looks really good. So going into the next one, I have breaking news. If anybody didn't know, Cooper Webb is going to race. That's what the word around camp is that his injuries weren't that bad, and he should be able to ride. That bad meaning, keep him out of races. They're probably that bad, though. They probably hurt. So that's where number 3 is then, is going to be Cooper Webb. Like I said, I think he would have still been my second. I had him second last week. He looked really good, barring going down. I think he easily could still be second right now. He was beating Roxon. He was looking like he could have won the overall. Eli would have had a 1-5, which is 6 points. Anderson would have had a 3-2, and Webb would have had a 2-3. So it would have been Anderson, Webb, Eli. Anderson and Webb with 5, Eli with 6 going into the third race. And Roxon would have had 9. So podium finish again for Webb had he not gone down. But he did. So in racing, crashing happens. So I have Webb third. Fourth, I have Justin Barcia. He's been the most consistent outside of your top 3. Obviously, they're winning. He won a race this year, just like he did last year. But this year, he's rode a lot better. And if you talk to him, he's super confident. He likes his bike. He's waiting to turn that corner. So I have him fourth. Anderson rode the Triple Crown very well. He was a lot faster. He didn't have as many hiccups. For instance, getting taken out by Malcolm at the end of last week, and then getting docked positions because he went through missed the whoops a little bit. Even though he went off the track in front of somebody and got on the track, he didn't pass anybody. He still gets docked. So he didn't have that happen, and then he didn't have Brayton come in on the track either and take him out. So he rode better and got a podium finish, which I think he still gets on the podium, in my opinion. I still think he's a podium guy in the race if Webb's still there. So I think he would have earned his third place, and you would have bumped Roxon a little bit further. So, anyways, Anderson, 5th on my power rankings. 6th, we're going to go with Justin Hill in the power rankings. Hill's flashy fast. He's top qualifier this week. The first guy to throw AC off the good old Speedwagon. And Justin Hill's, he's a hard book to read. He's got that Lights title, or the 250 title. And then he struggled the following year. He comes out, races Marv in the sand, looks really good, goes down, looks like in my opinion, he had the momentum to win that race, and goes down. And now we haven't seen him even fight for a podium. I feel like he had a good chance this weekend in the Triple Crown to get there while watching him ride and knowing that he was a fast qualifier. But he didn't get there, and he didn't. So Justin Hill 6th. Going into 7th, I've got Malcolm Stewart. Malcolm has been riding very consistent. He lacks the long-term, not really long-term, that's the wrong word. He lacks the long race energy, I guess. It looks like he fades and gets tired late in the race. Early in the season, he was pushing forward at the end of the race. Now, I don't know if maybe training-wise, maybe he caught a little bug. Maybe the other guys are just getting a little faster. But he's been fading. He had a good start 2 weeks ago. Ended up finishing, I think, 7th. So, yeah. I have Malcolm 7th. I do have Dean Wilson coming in at 8th. Coming into Atlanta, round 9. And Dino's been riding pretty well. He's consistently around the 6 to 10 range, but he's been a little bit more consistent than who I have 9 and 10, so that's where he goes. Number 9, I have Zach Osborne. Osborne finished 5th this last week. He rode well. He looked good, but he's hit or miss and has had a few bad rounds. But I have him 9th. 10th, and rounding out the final spot in the top 10, because I won't ever have a tie, I have Aaron Plessinger. Right now, Plessinger, he's been riding pretty well. He likes Atlanta. He rode well there last year. He finished 5th. So I think Plessinger, with a good start and riding well, can be up there. But we'll see. He's my 10th. I do not have Brayton this week. I'm not sure if he's going to be riding. I also don't have AC in this one. So no Brayton, no AC. And Baggett had a bad race last week to go along with getting hurt previously week. Didn't race the main. So I have him outside my top 10 right now. So I got guys that are showing up week in, week out. And yeah, that's my top 10 power rankings for week 9, going into week 9, Atlanta. Let's talk a little bit about Atlanta. So Atlanta is, it feels like it's a full moon. 2011, Reed takes out Stewart. 2015, Roxon in practice makes a mistake, jams his ankle into the stadium stands area. Lots and lots of different examples of craziness happen here in Atlanta. The track breaks down really well. It gets ruddy. It gets gnarly. And things happen. If you haven't seen the 2011 race, I recommend going and watching it. You only need to watch part 2 or the end of the race. Otherwise, you're just watching Reed and Stewart put down fast lap after fast lap after fast lap. But part 2, towards the end, Stewart made a mistake in the middle of the race, letting Reed by, and Reed goes and lays down sometimes. Stewart makes another mistake, and then Reed pulls out a little bit. Then Stewart makes a pass on the second to last lap. I think it was lap 19, because this is when they did 20 laps. He passes him on lap 19, crosses for the white flag, and then 3 corners before, it wasn't 3 corners, it was like 5 corners before the finish line, Reed comes in. You know, and when I first watched this, I was a Stewart fan. In the very beginning, I said Reed took him out. I am now more open to it. Stewart doesn't race anymore. Reed still does. I respect Chad Reed so much for still racing at the age that he is and the time that he puts in, and he sees his fans, and I wish more riders did what Chad did for a career. So to me, Chad is bumped up a lot more. But I watch it and I look at races today. This is for the win. This is for everything. And Chad was not far behind. Stewart goes in and leaves the door wide open. Wide open. A field of bison could have made it through this door. And Reed took it. Last lap, Reed led most of the moto. And he took it. He took the opening. They both go down. Stewart steps on Reed's bike to get going, get up and going. Doesn't get going right away. Villapoto passes. Villapoto goes on to win. Dungey starts coming up on Reed's hip. And it's Stewart, Dungey, and Reed fighting out to the end. And Stewart cuts off Reed in the second to last corner. It's like a little 90, kind of like this last week. They had that little hip jump. This had a little double there. And Dungey's able to rail the outside, make the pass for second. And Reed passes Stewart at the end, and Stewart finishes 4th. First to fourth on the last lap. Man, that race was fun to watch. Go watch it. 2015, go watch it. There's so many motos that are good to watch, but I feel like this is the turning point of the season. Webb's going to come into this weekend sore, hurt, and trying to salvage points. Kenny and Eli are looking to push on, and Barsha's looking for his second win, trying to come back. So I think if Barsha can go out and get a win, let's just play a scenario out. Barsha goes and gets the win. Okay? So, I'm just going to do a few things here. So, Barsha goes and gets the win. You add 26. He'd be at 180. Okay? That's Barsha getting the win. Webb gets third. Second doesn't matter because it won't be Eli or Roxon, let's just say, right? Webb goes and gets third. That's what? 26, 23, 21 points. So he'll be at 176. He'll lose third place to Barsha for the time being. Let's say Roxon finishes 7th. He just did one of the Triple Crown races. Let's just say it happens. Gets a bad start, finishes 7th. 7th is 16 points. So we add 16 to Kenny. And that would be 80. 190. And let's say Tomac has one of his usual once-a-year things, and he finishes, let's go with 17th, because I know he's got a few 17ths. That's 6 points. 187. You now have a new red plate winner. So this is something that can happen, right? Barsha could go get a win. That's possible. He did it in A1. Webb goes and gets a third. What do you do at A1? Third. Okay? Both Roxon and Tomac struggled at A1. Okay? So let's just say here in Atlanta they both struggle. Roxon goes and gets whatever I said earlier, and Tomac goes and gets a 17th. You now have a new red plate holder in Roxon with 190 points. You have Tomac at 187. Okay? 10 points back from the leader. You have Barsha. He's now within striking distance. And 14 points back, you have Cooper Webb. Now, with this scenario, how scary is Cooper Webb looking still? Cooper could still go out there and get a third. This could all happen. A first-turn pileup could happen. Anything can happen. This is why they don't like Triple Crowns, because anything can happen. And if it does happen, something like this happens, the points race gets this much closer. Shoot, Anderson goes and gets second. What's he have? 23 points on top of that. 62 points, 162. He has 162. He's only 28 down from Roxon at that point then, just a little bit over one race. Man, I'm telling you, things can change big time with just one race, and that's Eli not having a good race and Roxon doing what he did in one of his Triple Crowns. Like, I feel like that can happen, right? So, and Eli always has bad luck, whether it's bad luck or just doing too much or just his raw speed comes up and bites him. It did once already, but he was able to save it in that corner when he repassed Roxon earlier in the year. What if he couldn't have got back on track right away or hit a tough block and crashed outside and he lost 4 positions? Anything can happen. So that's what I like about Supercross. I wish AC was out there because he just throws another wrench in the wheel. I think AC can go get wins. So I'm going to be excited when he comes back. I don't know when he's scheduled to come back. So a few guys I'm not sure about is Tickle and Brayton. It looks like they didn't do too well in the Triple Crown. I don't know if they're coming to race this weekend. But scenarios can happen. Things can happen. Eli might go out and get 2 more wins and then have a 17th. You know, that 17th could come at any time, and that's going to tighten those points races up. Obviously, if he goes and gets wins, he's putting points on everybody. So I look for Kenny to try to get back up on top of the box. Don't get me wrong, he's fast. I just don't think he's number 1 fast. And then Cooper Webb, I look for him to salvage points this week. Maybe even the following week at Daytona. Daytona's going to be a hard ride for him. And then going into week 11, I could see him turning it around week 11 or round 11, which is Indianapolis. That's after Daytona. So he goes to Indianapolis, Detroit, and then he likes Seattle too. He doesn't really get wins there, but he does like the type of dirt it comes. Hopefully we got good weather in Seattle. That's home race for us, as you can see. So, yeah. Just wanted to go over a little bit. kind of give you some scenarios on what could shake down. Obviously, I think Tomac's going to go win the title. He's in the same place Webb was last year. He's held red plates before, outdoors, Supercross. Every time he gets it, he loses it. Well, he's coming in to his second race in a row with the red plate. Maybe it just got a little bit lighter. Maybe it got a little bit heavier. So, everybody that you're watching, I appreciate you guys. I want to do giveaways coming up. We got to get to 100 subscribers. So, let's get to them subscribers, and I will start doing giveaways. I believe the first one is a set of gloves or a set of goggles. One of the two. Either way, whatever's next after that, I have. So, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. As well as, yeah. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, subscribe. Let's get these giveaways going. I'll do giveaway videos once I hit the 100 mark. And comment who your favorite rider is and who you have number one. Don't give me who you have number one. Comment who you think is who do you think's got the best chance to win a race that hasn't won a race yet. Go ahead and like, subscribe, share. Let's get this thing out there. I love you guys. I love Supercross. Brat.